Testing. Okay, so hopefully y'all have already completed your bell ringer. If you haven't, you can go ahead and do that before the end of the day. We're going to do a very quick Kahoot. Then we have a mini lesson wherein we will read a text together and do a close reading, a very close reading. And then y'all will go independently complete another close reading of a shorter text. You will have a journal entry, and then you have a little bit of homework. We will talk about that as we go. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is a Kahoot, but since we're not live in class, I'll just be sort of Kahooting with myself and talking through it. So essentially what y'all are going to be looking at is this lyric, is it a Ed Sheeran lyric, or is it a piece of poetry from Edgar Allan Poe? So it's kind of a silly game we're playing, but it has a purpose, I promise. So let's do that really quickly, and then we'll jump into content. All right, so, oh, that's loud. All right, let's take that sound down a little bit. So what we are going to be doing is essentially, y'all would be in the actual Kahoot, but you're not going to in class. So we're just going to start really, I guess I have to join. Hold on one moment while I join the Kahoot. Okay, entering the pin. You can't see. I don't know why I showed that like you could. All right, so 1, 2, 5, 1, 6. All right, entering. Okay, go. We have entered. All right, so it's the Battle of the Eds. I have scarcely had time for cares. Is that going to be Sheeran or is it going to be Poe? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, Sheeran! Oh man, I was wrong. I got too excited and I got it wrong. Okay, so I have scarcely had time for cares, right? So that's actually going to be Edgar Allan Poe. That's one of his poems, not Ed Sheeran. It is actually poetry. All right. Oh, I got 0 points. Let me do better. Watch the flames burn Auburn on the mountainside. Desolation comes upon the sky. Oh, I know this one. That one's Ed Sheeran. Obviously, that's from I See Fire. If you like Lord of the Rings, I think that's from Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Not the point. All right. So that is a piece of a pop song, but it also could be poetry. Think about it. It's got this imagery. It is kind of poetic, so it could have been Poe, but it isn't. It's pop. Weird, I know. All right, so now I'm out of the 0. Yay. All right, let me focus. Through my silent screams, things aren't what they seem. Oh, that seems kind of like Poe. He's pretty dark, but it could be Sheeran. What is it? What is it? I mean, I know the answer, but... All right, so it's Ed Sheeran, right? But I also think that sounds kind of like Poe. So if I didn't know the answer, I might have chosen Poe. But nonetheless, I'm the winner of this. Okay, I know. I'm being silly. All right, so I think this is funny, so I just want to watch it. Da-da-da, I win. All right, so silly as it is, that did have a point to it. So let me turn on, well, let's just close it. That works. All right, so I promise there's a point. The point is, y'all, we tend to be kind of scared of poetry. Poetry seems too hard for us, just as a general rule. And it really isn't that difficult. Poems and music are very similar. So you may not like Ed Sheeran. That's fine. I don't understand you, but you might not, and that's okay. But you do like some form of music. And that music that you like That can be just like poetry. Don't be scared of it. Y'all got this. Okay, so today we're going to take a little field trip. Our Bitmoji is going to take a field trip out of the classroom and onto a picnic. So what we're going to do is we are going to read this together as just a whole group, and then I will switch over to our close reading video, and that is where we will get really serious about what this poem actually means. Immigrant Picnic by Gregory, last name I can't pronounce. It's the 4th of July. The flags are painting the town. The plastic forks and knives are laid out like a parade. I'm grilling. I've got on my apron. I've got potato salad, macaroni relish. I've got a hat shaped like Pennsylvania. I asked my father what's his pleasure, and he says hot dog, medium rare, and then hamburger, sure. What's the big difference? As if he's really asking. I put on hamburgers and hot dogs. I slice up sour pickles and Bermudas, uncap the condiments. The paper napkins are fluttering away like lost messages. You're running around, my mother says, like a chicken with his head loose. Ma, I said, you mean cut off. Loose and cut off being as far apart as, say, son or daughter. She gives me a quizzical look as though I've been caught in some impropriety. I love you and your sister just the same, she says. Sure, my grandmother pipes in. You're both our children, so why worry? That's not the point, I begin telling them, and I'm comparing words to fish now like the ones in the sea at Port Said, or like the birds among the date palms by the Nile, unrepentantly elusive, wild. Sonia, my father says to my mother, what the hell is he talking about? Excuse their language, friends. He's on a ball, my mother says. That's a roll, I say, throwing up my hands. It's hot dog, hamburger, dinner roll. And what about roll the barrels? My mother asks, and my father claps his hands. Why, sure, he says, let's have some fun, and launches into a polka, twirling my mother around and around like the happiest top. And my uncle is shaking his head, saying, you could grow nuts listening to us. I'm thinking of pistachios in the Sinai, burgeoning without end, the pecans in the south, the jumbled flavor of them suddenly in my mouth, wordless, confusing, crowning out everything else. So this is our poem for today, and we will begin unpacking it in the next video. So stay tuned for close reading.